Rotimi hears his mother's voice at the gate. He goes very still. His wife Simei is beside him, confused. Who is that calling you? He does not answer. His face, his face changes. Not fear, not surprise. Something old, something that has been waiting. He turns to Simei and grabs her hand. His hand is ice cold. "Do not follow me," he whispers. Then he runs to the backyard. Simei chases him. When she reaches the backyard, he is gone, but his clothes are dissolving in front of her eyes. And at the gate, his family from Ijebu is breaking through, screaming his name.
Ah, my people, good evening. Pour your mat closer to the fire. Let the flames warm your skin, because tonight, this story will make your blood run cold. This is a story about a man who cheated death, and everything death is owed, it always collects. This story comes from the old Yoruba lands, from the time of our grandmothers' grandmothers, when the night had more workers than the morning ever saw. I am telling you this now so you will look twice at the quiet man who sells meat in your market, the one who is always there before dawn, the one whose hands are always cold. Settle close, because this story, it does not end the way you expect. My people, before I go deeper into this fire, if you are sitting here in the dark with me listening to this story, click that subscribe button right now. Let me know you are awake. Let me know you are ready for what is coming, because what I am about to tell you, it will follow you to your sleep tonight. Now, let me begin. There was a young man in Ijebu. His name was Rotimi. Strong, well-liked, not wealthy, but respected. His mother, Iyabo, loved him the way a river loves its source. He was her only son, her pride, her future. Rotimi worked the land with his father's brothers. He joked with the young men at the village square. He was supposed to marry the next dry season, but death does not wait for weddings. One afternoon, Rotimi went to collect palm wine from a tall tree at the edge of the village. The tree was old, the rope was older. Halfway up, the rope snapped. He fell. His neck broke before he hit the ground. The village heard Iyabo's scream from 3 compounds away. She ran to the tree. She held his body. She shook him, slapped his chest, called his name over and over like calling could bring him back. But he was gone. They buried him 2 days later, under the big Iroko tree near the village shrine. The whole village came. Women wailed. Men poured palm wine on the ground. Iyabo, that woman cried until her voice disappeared. She sat by his grave for 3 nights, refusing to go home, refusing to eat. The elders had to carry her away on the 4th morning. Life moved on slowly, the way it always does after death. But that night, something was wrong at the grave. The earth above Rotimi's body moved, not like wind, not like rats. It moved like breathing. A sound came from under the ground, soft, steady, like someone trying to wake up. And then, silence. By morning, the grave was still, but if you looked closely, the soil was loose, disturbed, and Rotimi was gone. 3 weeks later, a man walked into Ibadon. At night, the town was asleep. Oil lamps were out, compounds locked tight. His footsteps made no sound on the dead path. Dogs that would bark at any stranger went silent. Not calm, silent, frozen, their ears flat against their heads. He walked past the night market, past the blacksmith's forge, past the talking drum tower, and he stopped at an old compound at the edge of town. The compound had been empty for years, but he walked through the gate like he owned it. By morning, neighbors saw smoke rising from the compound. Someone was cooking inside. In 2 weeks, the man had a name, Rotimi, a butcher. He set up his stall in the Ibadon market, and his meat was the best anyone had ever tasted. Always fresh, always available before sunrise, soft, no bones breaking your teeth, no bad smell even in the hottest afternoon. People asked him, "Oga, where do you slaughter? Which farm do you buy from?" He smiled, answered calmly. His answers made sense in the moment, but if you thought about them later, they dissolved like sugar in water. Nobody asked twice. The meat was too good. He became known, trusted, wealthy. In weeks, not years, weeks. And then he met Simei. Simei sold vegetables 3 stalls down from his. He greeted her every morning, bought tomatoes he did not need, spoke softly, made her laugh. She noticed him. How could she not? He was calm, respectful, never rushed her, never pressed, just there. Every morning, with that quiet smile. 6 months later, they married. Simei moved into his compound with joy in her heart and hope in her eyes. But from the very first night, something felt wrong. She could not name it. The compound felt different after dark. The oil lamp seemed to burn lower when he was in the room. She reached for his hand in sleep one night and pulled back. His hand was cold. Not cool, cold, like meat in the market. She told herself it was nothing, just the night air, just her mind playing tricks. But one night, she woke up. Rotimi was standing at the edge of their sleeping mat, dressing in the dark. No lamp, no sound. He wrapped his cloth around his waist and picked up a large knife from the corner and walked out of the room. She heard the compound gate open, then close, soft like a held breath. My people, the fire is burning low. If you are still here with me, if this story is pulling you in, press that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And stay close. Because what Simei is about to discover, God help her. Let me continue.
Simei began to notice things. Small things. Things she wished she had not seen. She had never, not once, seen Rotimi slaughter an animal. Never seen blood on his hands in the morning. Never smelt entrails. Never had the bleating of goats or the squawking of chickens from his compound. But every morning, his stall was full. Fresh meat. She asked him once, "Where do you kill the animals?" He looked at her calmly. "In the bush, near the river." The answer sat in her stomach all day. Heavy. Wrong. One afternoon, a neighbor woman came to buy vegetables. She leaned close to Simei and whispered, "Your husband, he's a good man, eh? But my husband, he tried to follow him one night." Simei's hands stopped moving. "Follow him where?" The woman's face darkened. "Into the bush. He wanted to see where the butcher goes, but he came back before midnight, shaking. He would not tell me what he saw. We moved to another part of town 2 weeks later." The woman paid and left quickly. Simei stood there, frozen. At home, she watched their dog, the dog she raised from a puppy. It refused to enter the room where Rotimi slept. Every night, it sat at the doorway, whining softly, ears back. One night, Simei woke at the usual hour. Rotimi was not beside her. She got up and walked to the compound. He was standing in the center, completely still, facing the direction of Ijebu. Eyes open, not blinking, not breathing. She called his name softly. Rotimi. He turned slowly, and for one moment in the moonlight, his shadow on the compound wall was wrong. It did not match his shape. She blinked. It was normal again. He walked back to the room without a word, lay down beside her, still, silent. She did not sleep the rest of that night. The next morning, she found Rotimi's butcher knife, the large one he took out every night. She picked it up. It was ice cold, even though the night had been warm. There was no smell of blood on it, no fat, no stain. It was perfectly clean, too clean. Simei put it down and sat in the compound for a long time, staring at nothing. She realized something that made her hands shake. She had never, not once, heard Rotimi snore, never felt him shift in sleep, never heard him dream or talk or sigh. He lay beside her every night like a man carved from wood.
There was a woman from Ijebu named Jumoke, a trader. She traveled to Ibadon twice a year to buy cloth and sell dried fish. It was an ordinary journey, nothing special. She arrived in Ibadon on a bright afternoon and went straight to the market, walking between the stalls, haggling, laughing with other traders. And then she saw him. She stopped walking. Her basket fell from her hands, peppers and dried fish scattered across the ground. Because across the market, buying palm oil and laughing with a woman selling oranges, was Rotimi. Jumoke had stood at his burial. She had helped wash his body. She had watched them lower him into the ground and cover him with red earth. She was looking at a dead man, alive, buying palm oil. Her legs would not move. Her mouth would not open. She told herself she was wrong. It could not be him. People look alike, but she knew. She knew he looked exactly the same. Not older, not sick, not decayed. The same. She ducked behind a stall and watched him for a long time. He packed his goods, greeted people by name, walked through the market like any living man. She could not breathe. Jumoke left Ibadon that same evening. She did not sleep on the journey back to Ijebu. She went straight to Yabo's compound. It was just before dawn. She knocked. Yabo opened the door, confused. Jumoke, what is wrong? Jumoke's voice shook. I saw him. Saw who? Rotimi, your son, in Ibadon, alive. Yabo went very still. Her face, her face crumpled and hardened at the same time. What are you saying? I am telling you what I saw. He is in Ibadon, married, selling meat in the market. I stood there and watched him. Yabo sat down slowly. Her hands were shaking. She did not cry. She did not scream. She just sat, staring at nothing. Words spread through Ijebu quietly, like smoke. By midday, Rotimi's uncles and cousins had gathered at Yabo's compound. They made a plan. They would go to Ibadon. They would see for themselves. And if it was truly him, they would bring him home. The family set out the next morning, on foot. Yabo led them, her face hard, her eyes dry. And in Ibadon, Rotimi was at his market store, cutting meat, greeting customers. And then
He stopped, mid-cut. The knife froze in his hand. He went very still. His eyes went distant, like he was listening to someone else could not hear. He looked in the direction of Ijebu for a long, long moment. Then he turned, walked out of the market, left everything, went straight home. Simei was grinding pepper in the compound.
He grabbed her arm. We have to leave. Today. Now. She stared at him. Leave? Leave where? What are you talking about? We have to go. Pack the children. Pack everything. Rotimi, what is wrong with you? He could not explain. His hands were shaking. This man who was always calm was frantic. Neighbors heard the shouting and gathered at the gate. Simei was crying now, confused, afraid. Tell me what is happening. And then, voices at the compound gate. Rotimi! Rotimi! A woman's voice. Old, broken, loud. Iyabo's voice. Rotimi froze. The color drained from his face. All of it. He looked at Simei, and in his eyes, she saw something that made her blood stop. Not evil, not anger, just old, ancient, tired, caught. He turned and ran.
Simei screamed his name. Rotimi, where are you going? Neighbors ran after him. Iyabo and the family from Ijebu burst through the gate. They chased him to the backyard. Simei was right behind them, her heart pounding, her mind breaking. They reached the backyard, empty. Rotimi was gone, but his belongings, his wrapper hanging on the line, was disappearing. Not falling, dissolving like smoke. His sandals by the door, gone. His knife, gone. In real time, vanishing. Simei fell to her knees, screaming. The children were crying. Neighbors stood frozen, mouths open. Iyabo walked into the backyard slowly. She looked at the empty space where her son had just been, and she was not surprised. She was weeping, but she was not surprised. She turned to Simei, knelt beside her, and told her everything. Who Rotimi was, how he died in Ijebu, when they buried him, how long ago. Simei's legs gave out completely. She could not breathe, could not think. The compound went silent, except for the children crying and Iyabo's quiet weeping. The house is still standing, the land is still there, the wealth is still there, the children are still there. But the man, where did he go? Is he walking again tonight toward another town, another market, another woman who will lie beside a cold hand in the dark and tell herself it is nothing? My people, death is the most patient creditor. It always collects what it is owed. The night has many walkers that the morning never sees. The quiet man in your market who is always there before dawn. Do you know where he came from? Do you know where he goes at night? Think about that before you sleep tonight. If this story has chilled your bones, press that like button. Subscribe to this fire so you never miss a story. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And come back next time, because I have another story for you about the woman who drank from the forbidden stream and the thing that climbed out of the water after her. Sleep well, my people, if you can.